Everyone wants to be a YouTuber, and everyone understands the power of creating content and cultivating a brand and etc. If you are planning to grow through this recession or grow through this economic challenge, the reality is you have to outpace with content delivery.
Welcome to the Be Better broadcast. We have a very special conversation and episode for you. Today, we are going back to the roots of the broadcast where we started, which is helping entrepreneurs, content creators, and businesses to expand their influence and to expand their reach, to reach more of their clients and to make them a bigger positive impact in the world. And what better way to do that than with the beauty of video marketing? And who else would we have on the show to talk about video marketing than my friend and expert, Mr. Carlton Brunton? And for those who don't know Carlton, Carlton is a seasoned video marketing expert based in Salisbury, United Kingdom, with a passion for creating captivating and influential video content that builds confidence and drives results. Results are number one. With over a decade of experience in the dynamic world of video marketing, Carlton has honed his skills and strategies to help businesses effectively communicate their brand message and connect with their target audience through the power of video. It's no surprise that I have a spot in my heart for video, a rather large spot in my heart, because 95% of my content is video content. Whenever I'm creating a post, I always think, what video can I put along with this post? I just think there's something really, really special about video. I believe it helps you connect with your audience in a very authentic and real way, especially if you are a content creator or a coach or a business owner who is creating a more personal impact with your clients. And today we're going to talk about how you can do that with Carlton. We'll talk about how you can go from being invisible to viral using video marketing. So if you take away even just one thing from this conversation with Carlton, all that we ask is you share this show with just one other person as well. You're the reason the Be Better broadcast has grown to over 300 episodes over the past 2 years, because you are the best part of the Be Better team. So without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, all the way from the United Kingdom. It's afternoon there. It's morning here. Thanks for being here, Carlton. It's great to have you.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having me, my friend. How's it going?
It's going really well, man. I see that you're doing your thing. You're always looking dapper, first and foremost. We're going to talk about that and the power of branding, but you're out there doing it, man. And for those who don't follow Carlton, you got to go to LinkedIn, follow him. He's always posting great content behind the scenes of working with clients. And it always looks like you're busy, brother, and I freaking love that.
I mean, as we kind of alluded to in our pre-show conversation, it's an illusion. I hate to break the barriers of the world, but it is an illusion, right? And I think it's really important to mention that, because sometimes when we are business owners, we look at others and we have a high level of, competition anxiety, or like, oh my God, Colton's really busy, right? What am I doing wrong, right? Now, I've curated the feed, I've curated what we do, I've curated how we do it deliberately so that you can feel as a consumer that I'm really busy and I've always got stuff going on. That's deliberate, right? Because it's how you gain more clients, it's how you gain more visibility, because if no one knows you exist, you can't, gain any more clients, gain no more understanding, and gain more trust, more importantly. But for me, it's not, the actual reality isn't that at all. The reality is I have peaks and troughs, I have mental health days, I have days where I'm like, so my pipeline has not got as much stuff in it as I would hope right now. Right, okay. And I'm sure we can get into any of the, any stuff you feel will be really valuable for your audience. But I think for me, it's as I say, it's very important to actually mention the reality behind this illusion that we give in marketing, because I think sometimes marketers as a whole, we give over this persona and we give over this reality. And I think sometimes that's slightly unintuitive, because it can actually do the opposite effect of what we want our marketing to do, which is connect us with the real person, connect us with the real individual. And something that I've tried to do this year specifically with my content is actually talk about the lack of wins, or the, not just the, hey, we did this amazing thing for a client. We show that, and that's amazing, because traditionally social media is a highlight reel, right?
Yeah. Yeah, it's so true. And I like how you say it's the illusion of being busy, but it's no illusion, like you said, because we're always busy just in different ways. Like sometimes there's a week or two where I'm not filming any broadcast episodes, but then 2 episodes still go live that week. And people are like, oh, wow, he's recording, he's doing his thing. I'll be on vacation and episodes are launching. And people are like, you're working on vacation. It's like, no, I have curated my monthly content or even my quarter of content so that I can take breaks like this and still have my message being sent out there, still have the conversation started, still engage with my people. So it's a way of curating things and a way to create a certain image that you want to convey. And you're really great at conveying that image. And I mean, that's what you do. So I sure would hope so. And we'll talk about what goes into curating that as well for those who might be newer in this journey or who might be really looking to go from obscurity when it comes to maybe they're a coach or whatever they do, right? There's always other people who do what we do. And standing out is the biggest thing. I know for you, you started over a decade ago in a very interesting way. There's something you don't know about me, which I'm going to share after I ask you this question. But you started by actually creating content for World of Warcraft as a gamer, right? So tell me about this, because there's something you don't know about me, and I want to get into that after you tell me. But how did it start for you when it comes to creating how-to guides and tutorials and making videos of this game that millions play, but hardly anyone actually recorded it and shared it with the world?
I mean, for me, it's always been something that I've found interesting and always found like the articulation very interesting when it comes to how people tell stories, right? We've watched films from a very young age. I was heavily into World of Warcraft, wanted to be a professional gamer, pursue World of Warcraft, playing it professionally. Those who don't know, you can, not then, but you can now definitely build a content creation career and a legitimate pro player career from just playing a video game, right? It's not easy. It's not difficult. It's like any sport. You need to be in the top 1% to even be asked to even go to anything, basically. In Crux, why did I do it? It was a lot of fun. I was a kid and I wanted to have an outlet to showcase something I was passionate about. And at the time, that was gaming. And at the time, it went, but still is to an extent. But I'm very busy with work, as you can probably gather. So my gaming time becomes very little. And it's something I kind of dip in and out of now and again, probably every 6 to 8 weeks, just to give myself that one day where it's like, look, I'm not thinking about work because that's still important. It's something that maybe I've pushed a little bit too much the last couple of years. It's just like full on work, but I think it's about balance within reason to your vision as well, which is an entire separate conversation, but yeah.
Yes, I love that. So I also played World of Warcraft for, I was hardcore into it. I never wanted to be a pro gamer, but I made tutorial videos as well of World of Warcraft. So before, when I was in high school and the end of middle school, I had a YouTube channel before YouTube was cool. You know this because it was the same for you back in 2008, 2009, and so on. But I also played a game called RuneScape. Are you familiar with that game by chance? Okay.
Yeah, so I for a very quick story, it's very common. You normally start on RuneScape. Those World of Warcraft veterans will know. You start on RuneScape till you get to the point where you're like, I probably should stop playing this really addictive game. You know what we do instead? We subscribe to a new addictive game known as World of Warcraft. That's our solution to that problem.
And then many of those people subscribe to the most addicting game, which is business, which has a lot of other benefits too. So it's one thing to the other. I look at it as a game because it really is a game, and you treat it. You're building a skill, right? And when you build that skill to different levels, you get new opportunities, different opportunities. You meet new people. So I played RuneScape and WoW, but RuneScape first. And we both made videos before it was cool to make videos. And it's funny because I looked back at my channel the other day, actually, because I read your description and I was like, I wonder how my channel was doing. And I had several videos over 100,000 views, many over 10,000 views. I also made commentaries and guides. And back in the day, it's funny because I never even replied to comments on the videos. I didn't title my videos in a specific way. Like, it was so much easier back then to get the views on your videos to the point where you took it for granted. Now you can post the best video in the world. Like, it can be the best content. You could be a fitness coach, a health coach, whatever it might be. And you're just the best in the world at it. But your video gets 10 views. And you're like, what's going on? Why is my stuff not being watched? Why aren't my things going viral? Like, how is it, Carlton, that people can have the best content in the world, yet without understanding the principles behind search and SEO and title optimization and frequent content creation? How is it that someone can be obscure even with the best content in the world?
I mean, there's two approaches. I mean, what we're talking about here is how do you play the game, right? And the thing is about the game in 2023 that wasn't the case when we were both creating gaming content, really, is there's every single person and their dog with a smartphone that all wants to be a YouTuber. That's the reality, right? Everyone wants to be a YouTuber and everyone understands the power of creating content and cultivating a brand and etc. But I'm going to push back slightly quickly on the whole 10 views thing, because people say to me, oh, Carlton, your video, like some of your videos only get 200 views or like etc. But I'm like, okay, that's true, but why does that matter? Because if it's the correct 200 people, right, then that's actually more valuable than me getting a video with 20,000, 30,000, 40,000, 50,000, 100,000, whatever. Because if that 100,000 people are never going to want to hire me, ever, then that's a waste. I mean, I privated a video that got really viral. It got like 33,000 views in like half a year. On my main channel at the moment, because it was attracting the wrong audience to my channel. So I wasn't building a niche audience that actually was going to care about the other content I was creating. They only cared about that specific piece of content that I was never going to duplicate again. So I was like, okay, I'm just going to private this because it's a great video. It's an event video, but it wasn't the audience I wanted to cultivate. And that's the important point I always make with people when it comes to like, let's go viral, right? There's strategies you can use to go viral, sure. And, you know, this is why short form's so powerful. This is why long form content like this is so powerful, because it gives you the opportunity to literally get yourself seen by hundreds of thousands of people across 20 clips, 30 clips, 40 clips. You know, we've had some stuff from both businesses that have gone to like 8, 15, 16K within like 2 days. You know, we've just had one as of this morning when I checked the stats that magically overnight got 5,000 views. You know, it's one of those things that you can just hit in the algorithm, and there's strategies you can use and things you can think about. But the core for most of these platforms at the moment is knowing how to package the content you're producing, right? And a lot of the research I'm doing is listening to people and listening to interviews like this with people who are better at it than me. And that's, I think, the important point. It's never saying you're complacent with where you are and saying, yes, you're the expert, right? But you're the expert in correspondence to what? In correspondence to your clients or the people you serve? Yeah, absolutely you are, right? But actually that doesn't mean you're the wholehearted expert in the entire world and you have nothing else to learn, right? I'm constantly trying to be like, okay, what podcast, what piece of content, what other stuff can I listen, read, watch, etc., to grow and understand how can I leverage these tools better? How can I create stronger content? How can I come better across on camera? Oh, is there this new tool with AI? Because it's been very interesting having the AI conversations with a lot of people, because there's kind of two camps. One's going like pushing back from AI, going, no, I don't want to use AI. And then others that are starting to embrace it and see it as a tool.
Yeah, I want to ask you about AI when it comes to how you're implementing that, especially with the form of content that you're creating. But before that, what you said is so true. A video can get 10 views, yet that video can be your best performing piece of content for that week, because the 10 people who watched it are the exact type of person who you want to do business with. Like, I made a post the other day of me and my son, and it got like 50 reactions, which is more than I hardly ever get, especially with my audience on LinkedIn, the size of it. But it got 50 reactions, but I didn't get a message from people saying, I want to work with you now because I saw that great picture of you and your son, right? But I can make a post that gets 2 reactions, but maybe 100 impressions on LinkedIn, and I go to view insights and I look at who viewed it. And 80% of the people who viewed it are decision makers. And then I'll get a message the next day saying, hey, what does it look like to work with you? What does a workshop for our leadership team actually look like? And that came from the post that only got 100 views and maybe 3 to 4 reactions. So just because your posts aren't getting the dopamine candy of the love and the support and the funny reaction, it doesn't mean that those posts aren't going to be the ones that actually generate business for you.
Mm. And I think it's about also understanding the whole context around it, right? As I alluded to in the intro, I'm starting to build more mental health elements, more, actually showing the real reality of what running a successful business is, whatever that means, right? So sex is very subjective. But for me, it's about saying, okay, yes, I am this independent person who is able to create this wonderful, meaningful change for our clients, but also I'm also this person who still questions, where's the economy going to go? How is it going to end? Where's the problems? Where's the new fires? but also the same person again who can say, yeah, but actually I can fix all those problems. Yeah, actually I can move forward. Yeah, actually there is solutions, and there is actually, if I continue to move forward and continue to articulate how we're valuable, yes, it will get better. It's not this doom and gloom, the world is over. But I think sometimes, especially people who are maybe less confident in who they are, aren't going to necessarily give the full picture in their marketing, and aren't going to necessarily give their full picture when it comes to articulating who they are. And that's something that I've tried to do more this year, and it's had good dopamine reaction. Right? whether you know, for me, the mental health side or saying how it is side isn't really to generate clients. It's more just to give a spin or a context on, this is who I am, this is what I feel, and etc., to give my, I guess, the brand a little bit more personal touch and a bit more, you know, personal emotional connection, which actually will help you win trust with clients faster, in my experience, because you're being openly vulnerable.
That's a really great point. So what mix of your content is that building trust piece of content versus the showing exactly how you can help people, or even the how-to piece of content? Like, how do you curate your content in that way? Is it like a percentage based on different buckets, or what would you say that looks like?
The simple answer for me is, whenever I create a piece of content, I'm always asking, how is it going to either create inspiration, knowledge, something, education, something like that, add some value to the person who's I'm asking for their attention and their time, right? For me, there's 3 elements of content. I've done some content talking about this, but it's very simple. You've got awareness content, you've got nurture content, and then you've got conversion content, right? So your awareness content probably for me is about 10 to 15%. Then you've got, you know, conversion content is probably about 5%, and then the rest is just nurture content. Because my job specifically, if we're really talking just purely business, is to get you to first know who I am and know who I help and know what I do. Secondly, build trust with me quickly. Thirdly, buy my thing, whatever that thing may be, right? Depending on what I'm selling will depend on the thing. But it's the same process no matter what. And what we're talking about here is a marketing funnel, right? Top of a marketing funnel is awareness. Hey, look, I exist. This would arguably be for me to your audience. Hey, look, I exist. Hello. Any content that comes out after this, on my channels or your channels with me in it, is going to potentially start to be a nurture piece, because it's going to say, hey, look, this is how I can help you. This is how we can build trust together. This is some social proof that really helps. So it's other people saying Carlton's really good at what he does, right? And then I might have an opportunity to say, hey, I'm going to offer you this thing, or hey, here's this offer. Hey, I've got this thing going on. Would you be interested? And in most cases, you're going to get 1, maybe 2, maybe 3% of your audience that will actually take you up on that opportunity, not buy from it, take you up on the opportunity. You'll probably have 1 to 2% of that percentage that may take you up on the opportunity. And this is why in marketing we want big numbers, right? Because as you scale it down, the numbers are getting less and less and less, but those people are getting more specifically exactly who you want to talk to in your target audience, so to speak.
Yes, and it's a numbers game. It takes time, right? If you start now and you begin creating very consistent content, and you've got the awareness and the nurturing and the conversion content, which, by the way, a lot of people miss out on the conversion content. They're afraid to make a post about what their product looks like, how they can serve people. And it's like, it reminds me of Gary Vaynerchuk's book, Jab, 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 Right Hook, right? Each jab is the nurturing and the awareness content. And then the 5% of that content is the right hook, which is like, hey, Carlton, by the way, thanks for viewing all my other content. This is what I do. This is who I help and how I can serve you. I'd love to have a conversation to see how I can help you to achieve this same result that I've gotten for this person or this business. Yeah. So if you have that dichotomy of content, then it's a numbers game and time from that point on, right? And a lot of people, a lot of coaches especially, and I keep saying coaches because that's what I do, coaches, consultants. So a lot of people who are in my same world are going to be watching this and hopefully following you so you can continue to nurture them with your content. But a lot of those people, they think that by making a content game plan for a few months, it's going to generate results. And it can, but it's very, very far and few between. It takes a good year to 2 years to maybe even longer to begin getting a lot of inbound traffic and opportunities from your content. 90 to 95% of it, for me at least, has still been the outbound approach, which you can still use video marketing for the outbound approach as well, creating a personalized and tailored video for the person you're reaching out to, and so on and so forth. So what we're talking about here can take time. I mean, let me ask you, because that might be a limiting belief. Do you believe that this content game plan does take time? Do you believe there is an element of patience when it comes to it?
Absolutely. I mean, one of the common questions I'm asked is, what's the golden content to create? And the answer is always, who are you trying to talk to? How are you trying to do it? The answer isn't simple. The answer is, to be honest, if you actually want the real brutal answer, it's you have to outlast everyone else that does what you do in regards to content delivery, in regards to quality of value, in regards to just long-term growth, right? If you are planning to grow through this recession or grow through this economic challenge, the reality is you have to outpace with content delivery, in my view, with value add. So not just posting rubbish, but actually what you say every time you say it on camera should be valuable, or it should be an example of what you can do for a client. And if you can do that more consistently and across an extended period of time in correspondence to your competition, you will win in the long term. In the long term is the key. Right? There's different strategies you have to use. If you need the short-term cash flow to I need to make X amount of money, fine, right? That's a different strategy, and that's a lot. There is content elements around it, and content can help you with that, but content is to continue to build your reputation, continue to be able to scale, to continue to be able to grow, continue to be able to up your prices, regardless of what the economy does, because instead of serving the economy in the market, or serving the demand in the market, you're creating the demand for what you do through proving it in actionable steps. By saying, hey, look, this is how I've grown my business through video marketing. Hey, this is how I've grown my business through a video podcast. Hey, this is how I've grown my business through a live broadcast, etc. Maybe we can do that for you. Maybe we can help you with that. That's actually what you're saying. And replace whatever you do with what I just said, right?
Yeah.
Because that's the important element, right? Because why should I choose you? And this is something I always ask our clients is, why am I going to choose you to buy the product or service that you sell over the 15,000 other people who all trying to do, especially in my space? My God, there's a new videographer every 2 days who says they are, this incredible, and this is not disrespect to them. They probably are an incredible filmmaker. The point I'm making is, you cannot just serve the demand that exists in the market. You have to create it for yourself, because if you create it for yourself, it's very unlikely that someone's going to choose someone who isn't you, because you've created and tailored that narrative to fit your style and your demographic. And also you're going to talk to the people who want what the style you sell and how you go about selling it.
Yeah. Yeah. Well said. Absolutely. When it comes to video marketing specifically, obviously you and I are very biased towards this because I've got a broadcast, which is video, and you've got your show, and you've got everything that you do professionally. So what is the power of video marketing? Is it for everybody? Why is it so important aside from making just a text post or posting a picture? Why is video so relevant today?
I think for me, it's about creating touch points and creating trust quickly. And the way that traditionally we would do that is through meeting someone at a networking event, having a conversation with them where we can see, hear them, and gain their body language understanding, etc. But what video allows us to do is it's the closest thing to actually meeting someone, right? It's about building this one-sided relationship in some ways with the audience, right? But the difference is, instead of, yes, we're having a one-on-one conversation right now, but actually this is a very scalable piece, because this is going to be seen by however many people when it gets distributed, but then also it's going to sit online for an extended period of time where it will then be seen. And it might be one person a month or one person a week or whatever, it doesn't matter. Because if it's that one person at that one time, at that perfect opportunity for them and their business, that will mean money for you.
Yeah.
Right? That will mean a deal. That will mean a conversation. And I've had videos on YouTube that have sat on there for 3 years, 4 years, etc., of me talking about a specific thing related to video marketing. And then I get a call randomly out of the blue, right, in the middle of a day normally, saying, hey, Carlton, just seen this video that you made about blah, 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 whatever it was about. Would love to have a conversation with you to see how we can, launch a podcast, or how we can have that conversation, or how we can, up what we're doing, because, look, times are tough, etc. And what normally happens, and I remember interviewing another video expert on my show, and we were talking about, like, when recessions actually hit, what most companies do is one of two things. Either they'll retreat and they won't do anything, or they'll go, right, how can we do what we were normally doing, but do it differently? Do it exciting, do it unique, spin it out of the box. So if you're positioned as the expert in doing that, they're going to ring you. They're going to say, hey, Carlton, we need to do this, because, to be honest, it's going to be do or die. And especially if you have a proven track record of getting them results, or getting someone results, you're going to be chosen over the, it looks nice,
That's true. Yeah, and like you said, I have my YouTube channel's been up since 2019, and some of my top performing videos are literally videos that have been around for the last 3 years, 4 years. Some of them didn't even become popular until a year later. Like I have a video on the 75 hard challenge that I did, and it's one of the top videos in the 75 hard space, right? I'm definitely not one of the most fit people making these videos, but I titled it the right way. I optimized the description in the right way. I optimized the thumbnail in the right way. So it can seem a lot for people. I know it was for me, and I'm sure it was for you at the beginning when it's like, okay, so I know to make video content, but it's not just about picking up my phone and shooting the video. Then I have to search keywords. Then I have to create the right title. Then I have to write the right description, make the right thumbnail. Like, how do you help people? And maybe it's a few words of advice, maybe it's a process, but how do you help people to get better at this process and begin without the fear of paralysis of all the different things that they must focus on?
I think there's kind of two elements there. One is actually creating video content as a whole, right? Are you actually comfortable with this kind of dialogue, right? Whether that's to you or to someone else, right? So the very quick strategy on that: create 5 videos just talking about your day, create 5 videos talking about value towards your clients, and then create 5 more videos re-talking about the 5 things that you added value to a client or things that are problems in your client's market. Then post those, right? You're building up a confidence in the ability to share your expertise and your video skill, right? It's like a skill, like anything, public speaking, etc. But something that really helps me and has helped other clients when it comes to starting to do video is understand you're the catalyst to the information. It's less about you than you think. It doesn't actually matter about you, really. But really quickly on packaging, it's about starting and just getting the ball rolling and then working out how to optimize it. Mm-hmm. Now, we alluded to AI a little bit earlier. I've been very open with the fact that I'm starting to use chat AI to basically do the bulk of my copywriting work for the volume of the content that we produce. Because the bottleneck for me was, okay, I have all this content, but I don't have enough time to sit here and write a meaningful, long-winded description that actually hits the algorithm and tells the algorithm. It's an algorithm thing. It's not really a people thing, because most people don't read the description, mostly, right?
That's
Maybe
true.
on LinkedIn, but mostly they don't. The reason why you need a detailed algorithm is for the algorithm of YouTube to understand, because all YouTube sees is, here's a video, right?
Yep.
It might know what the transcript is, so it has a rough idea, but it doesn't really know. It's looking for the title, description, and tags to understand, what is this video about? What does it talk about? Who do I send it to as that test audience, right? But this is how you can leverage chat AI. Now, some people will say, I don't really want to because it takes the human element away, etc., etc. I'm like, okay, but it's a numbers game.
Yeah.
And if I can use chat AI to increase the amount of times I can put myself out there from a touch point of view, and also we're creating clips using chat's AI software as well now.
Yeah.
It allows me to create more content that's actually going to create more value in the market because I'm optimizing my time, right? So instead of me doing the grunt work, which is going through a call like this for an hour and going, right, oh, that 3 seconds was really good, Carlton, cool, let's post that. I can put this into a piece of chat AI software or etc. I think we use ops clips at the moment. And it will basically just output, here's 8 clips that we think are going to do well on social. Okay, fantastic. And it's basically just going to take the grunt work I would do anyway, with then in the combination of then combining that with smart thinking on chat AI prompts and actually helping chat AI do my job for me, allows me to output more than most of my competition can, which is the game, right? And respectfully, I don't really care how I get better at the game. If it produces better results for the business, I'm going to do it, because the result for me is actually now I can create some of the content that I have to edit, like the longer form behind the scenes stuff, or like the stuff on set, which is harder to cut and harder to create and needs to be a human doing it, because I'm not being bogged down by the grunt work of let's edit my show, which is incredibly powerful in the interview. But actually I'm also using AI to do the basic editing on my podcast show as well. Right?
Yeah.
Now you're using StreamYard, which means you can do it live, right? I personally don't, because I want to focus on the interview. But then I can go back and use AI to actually do some of the post work for me. So so I've done that grunt work within 3 to 4 seconds instead of it taking me the hour it would normally take me.
Yeah, just you said a couple things there that I want to unpack, but you mentioned a software that helps you make clips. Obviously, softwares will be in and out, but if you watch this video a
Yeah, of
year
course.
from now, these will likely be different. But what is the name of the one that you use to make your
So
clips
at the
again?
moment we use Ops Clips, and
Ops
it's
clips.
Ops Clips, and I can provide links and etc. where needed.
Okay, that's cool.
It's an American-based company, from my understanding, who basically took the idea of artificial intelligence and said, what happens if we merge this with long-form content cutting for social,
Yeah.
basically. The other one is, I think it's Auto Clips or etc. that I use for my podcast editing, that basically takes a lot of what you're doing with scene changes, like when I'm full screen and we're both on the screen, etc. A lot of that would take time in edit, but it's actually very simple to do in a piece of software, because you just sync up the audio and you just say, only show this person when they're speaking, only show me when I'm speaking.
Yeah.
Which is what we would have done naturally as editors.
Yes.
But the difference is, a piece of AI software can do it in 5 seconds. It would take me an hour.
Yeah. It's
And
so true.
And it's not to replace me doing the editing. I still go through it and I still check it and I still etc. It's about optimizing the time it takes me to do that grunt work, and I spend less time doing the grunt work, which in turn means I then have more available time to create more, what I would believe is more meaningful content and or more volume of content, which in turn means I'm going to get more views, which in turn means, again, it's a numbers game, which means I can play the game better, in theory.
Yeah, I don't know if you've experienced this, but it blows my mind at people's pushback when it comes to ChatGPT. Blows my mind. I posted recently in this mastermind group I'm a part of very successful business owners and people who are on the same path I'm on, podcasters, whatever it might be. And I mentioned you mentioned prompts earlier with ChatGPT, and I don't want to get too much in the weeds. We can, but let me just re-say what you already said in a different way. So you mentioned you can make a long form piece of video content. You can then use AI to chop that long form into many different short forms. And then you mentioned the bottleneck on my business, which is, I'm using your words now, the bottleneck on my business was I had all these clips, I had all this content, but the one thing really holding it back was me sitting there having to type the description for every single thing, because you can't really just post a video on LinkedIn and then boom, it's going to get a bunch of engagement, right? There really has to be a description. You can't just post a video on YouTube. There has to be a description, not for the people watching it, but for YouTube to know what that video is about. They take some of that information from the video and the captions, but a lot of it comes from the description, the title, all that. And I remember I purchased for $20, and I'm going to share it with you guys here in a second. For $20, I purchased this. I don't want to call it a course. It's more of a package of GPT prompts of exactly what to put into ChatGPT to get the result that you're looking for. And I posted this and I was like, what do you guys think about this? To my mastermind. And they're like, I'm really avoiding using ChatGPT. It takes away the human element. I don't want anything to do with that. And it's like, guys, this is like the early 2000s when smartphones were becoming popular. This is like the late 1990s, which I don't remember because I was born in 94, but this is like the late 1990s when the internet came around, when people were like, oh, I don't need to use that. And business owners weren't going on Google ads. They're like, we're still going to do it the old fashioned way. My advice is don't get stuck and don't fall behind because of either ignorance or being stubborn. And I say that because I'm a stubborn person too, but don't be stubborn and don't sleep on this opportunity with ChatGPT, because you will get left behind. It doesn't mean that you just take the exact prompt that it gives you and you copy and paste that. Take what ChatGPT gives you, or take what these clip creators give you, and then make it into your own voice. Do some additional editing. Save 45 minutes on something rather than maybe the hour you would have saved if you just copied and pasted it, to make it really your own and use your own voice. But I will share this. This is the first time I shared it because I've had about 3 weeks of using it now, and I'm a big fan, not sponsored or anything like that. This was $20, and it's 2,000 ChatGPT prompts that you can use to do all these things for your social media, for your content creation, for each platform specifically. The ones I use a lot are the LinkedIn post generator. I use the YouTube titles. I use the description. Like the YouTube title one gave me the title for this conversation today, which is how to go from invisible to viral with video marketing. And there's so many different keywords in that title. Invisible, viral, video, marketing, all those things together. The description that came out, I already sent you, Carlton. You got to look at it. And you wrote back stunning, right? I did make that my own, but ChatGPT spit that out. So don't take all this time on your own, guys, to feel like you have to master all these different things yourself. Use these tools that are at your disposal to do it faster and more effectively.
No, I completely agree. And, something I think is worth mentioning as well, I'm a dyslexic, right? So this is an absolute game changer and a leveler for me. It's like, so the caveats and the problems that I had as a dyslexic when it came to, you need to play the search game, isn't a problem anymore, right? So I have every benefit, but also just briefly, like going over the mindset thing of like AI. The way I look at it is very simple. Business is about leverage, okay? Network leverage, time leverage, money leverage, content leverage, attention leverage, everything. Everyone that you speak to who is in any way, quote unquote, successful in business is going to talk about leverage. Investors talk about leverage. Everything is about leverage. AI is just another thing you can leverage, right? If you're concerned about, I don't have the human element, as we've already discussed, you can add the human element back in. Okay, at the beginning, if you just want to hit the market with so much content, so people know what you do and you are aware and etc., you can just use AI to gain a huge amount of data very quickly, because you can literally just, as I said, create some long form content with you in it, talking about these things, then use AI to build the clips, then use AI to write the text, then arguably even probably there's a way to even, I'm not a coder, but there's probably a way to automate this completely, where you put in the long form at the top, etc. If anyone knows how to do this, please let me know. Thank you very much. But there would be probably a way to do it, and then it auto posts it as well. Because what you're going to be doing by doing that is having a huge amount of market insight and a huge amount of market awareness to say, what are people okay with? What do people like? What do people not like? And I've had no one say to me, Carlton, I dislike your content because AI is now involved. Right? No one's gone to me your content's less valuable because you're leveraging AI.
Yeah, no one's going to say that. It's ridiculous.
And it just means you can output more, is the honest truth.
Yes. You said the word mindset. This is new. People they're against it, right? It's still a very new thing, but the power of GPT, not just GPT, but I use other softwares like you mentioned. I use ClipScribe. I use a software to create B-roll. Like I have, just like you use the same thing. It's so many different tools to help make our life easier. But at the beginning, and this is what I'd like to ask you, at the beginning for the person listening, now they're thinking, okay, now I got to create the long form. I got to make the clips from it. I got to create the content game plan. I've got to get GPT. Like now they're like, oh my God, it went from just creating a quick video to doing all these different things. Like for the person listening who wants to start creating the video content to really go from invisible to viral, or using your words better, reaching maybe not 1 million people who don't care, but the 10 people who can make the buying decision. What would you share with the person who wants to get started now? Like what's a tip you could give them that will be more valuable than anything they heard in this conversation that will help to jumpstart their own content creation?
Consider if you were speaking to someone who has no idea what you do, right? None. Alien, child, best friend, not a clue. Got no idea. And they wanted to buy your service, product, etc. How would you describe that to them? How would you articulate why what you do is valuable? All I'm going to ask you to do is take 1 minute with your phone after this piece of content. Just record that and put it out into the world. Wow. I promise you, it will do more than you think it will.
What a beautiful piece of advice. So talk to someone, a child, an alien, and they might be listening, by the way,
Consider when you articulate anything in content as if that's what you're doing, right? So the really quick example I always use is, what's a KPI? No one in marketing outside of the marketing world is going to know what that means. A KPI is a key performance indicator, right? So whenever you talk about it in content, don't use KPI. Talk about it as a key performance indicator.
Speak the acronym. Speak it out. Yeah. Make it simple. Yeah, it's the acronym KISS. Keep it super simple. Or other people might say keep it simple, stupid. It's so true. Right? We are all children that have simply grown, and now our age is getting larger, but we like things to be simple. And sometimes I've known people for like several years, especially on LinkedIn, and I still ask the question, what do you do? Like, and it's because they haven't enunciated really well what they do. Like, I have people who are fitness experts and coaches, but it's like, what's your product? Like, if I wanted to hire you, how could you help me? I have people that I really, really like, and I've done business with people only because I like them, to the point where I've said to them, hey, how can I do business with you? Because I like you a lot. I want to be part of your ecosystem, but I don't really know what you do. So your advice is take your phone out, shoot a 1-minute video to talk about what you offer people in a very, very simple and rudimentary way.
What does your products and who does your products and service help?
I love that. So you mentioned earlier, you said it very quickly, so I would just like you to say it one more time. You kind of talked about an introductory video pack. And that was like, make 5 videos about who you are, 5 videos about how you help people. What is that one more time? Like, not to go super into detail, but can you say that one more time? Because that's very helpful.
So this comes from a repeated set of problems that a lot of my video coaching clients suffered with, which was, Carlton, I can't create video content like you do because I have crippling anxiety around it, right? Okay, fine, no worries. So what you do is very simple. You start with creating 5 videos about anything. Just get your phone, get your webcam, etc., and talk to it. Just get the idea of talking to it. Okay? So it can be, what did you do today? What did you have for breakfast? What's annoying you? What are the bugbearers at work? So on. Right? Once you've done that, you've got 5 videos. Cool, fantastic. Then do 5 videos on what you would try and fix if a problem in your business world, so your clients, your audience, someone who you were trying to help that was coming to you for your product and service. What are those pain points? What are those issues? What are those questions? Answer those in 1-minute videos. Do 5 more of them, right? Then, a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks later, do the same 5 again, but this time actually post them out into the world. What you'll notice happens is you'll gain passive confidence just through the articulation of doing it, right? And this is to an extent, the simple term is just do it, right? But that's not very helpful. Right? Because if you've got crippling anxiety about the idea of being on camera, me saying just do it isn't going to help you, right? You need something more tangible. You need something actually actionable that you can slowly build up to. The reason why this strategy works so well is it doesn't just drop you in at the deep end, right? If you're someone who's got a lot of confidence, you're a salesperson, etc., I have a very different strategy, which is just do the 5 that you're going to talk to your pain points and post them. You skip out the first 10. But if you're someone who isn't in that way and doesn't have that level of self-belief, self-confidence, and self-understanding, you need to tackle it differently. You need to be kinder to yourself. You need to say, okay, it's not about going to the deep end of a pool and then your swimming coach deciding, oh, let's find out how well he can swim. Kick. Oh, you can't. I'll do it. Right? It's actually saying, no, look, let's introduce you to the shallow end of the pool. Let's get you confident with the idea of, okay, you're in the water. Fantastic. Okay, so now let's try and go halfway up the pool and then back. Halfway up the pool, back. Etc. And eventually what will happen is you'll get to the end of the pool and you won't even realise it. So before you've realised it, because you'll be so engrossed, and this is why I say, you're the catalyst to the information. It's very unlikely most people actually care. Why is he wearing a hat? Why has he got a beard? Why is he talking this way? How's he doing it? They care about what you're saying. They don't give a shit about you. Sorry, they don't. This is true whether you've been around 10 years, 2 years, 2 weeks, or 2 hours. Doesn't matter. They don't give a shit about you. They give a shit about what you're saying. And this is why what you say is more valuable than how you say it within most reasons, as long as, with the asterisks on, you can articulate yourself cohesively. If you're mumble, and you're not very, then work on that. Everyone's like that at the beginning, but that should be the goal, because the better you can articulate yourself, the knock-on effect will be when you're in a sales call, marketing conversation with a friend, family member, new client, prospect, etc. You'll actually use better words and you'll articulate yourself with a lot more confidence because you practice more.
It's so true. I remember during the pandemic, 2020 specifically, where I worked with the sales company, and I came back and it was the first live presentation after a year. And it was to like 80 of their leaders and so on and so forth. And I've done much work with this company. And after this presentation, one of the owners came up and he said, Brandon, this was the most on your game I've ever seen you. He's like, it's been a year since you've actually spoken to this group. Like, how have you gotten this much better when you haven't even been doing this? And it's like, surprise, I have been doing this. I've been making video content 3 times a week on YouTube, where it's the same as public speaking, except I'm speaking to a camera rather than a room of people, right? So a lot of the skills that you'll get better at with making video content will be transferable to speaking in real life, whether it's one-to-one at a networking event or to a group of people at a chain chamber commerce or a Toastmasters event, whatever it might be. But this will also give you great data, guys, making these videos about who you are, the problems you solve, who you've helped. If you make 5 videos a minute each of those, and one of those videos gets a ton of engagement, a lot of people love it, and it's the right people, then you can say, wow, people really liked when I made the video about solving this specific problem. Let me make 5 more 1-minute videos on how else I'd solve this problem, or maybe go a bit deeper into this. So you're never without ideas for content. Create the content, look at what worked, do more of what works. It's not rocket science, like you said, Carlton, and it's a lost concept, but you just got to do it. Whether you have to schedule it ahead of time or grab the phone out after you listen to this, or I won't be offended if you pause this video, guys, and you take your phone out now and just shoot that 1-minute video and then continue, because that will be one thing you can check off your list today of an achievement that you had. So just get started and do it. And I know that you help people do this, Carlton, and I'm curious, for people who are like, wow, I love this guy, I love what this conversation entailed, I want to hear more of this. First, go to Carlton's LinkedIn. Links are in the description. He posts there constantly. Great content. You can see what he's talking about in action. But how can people work more closely with you if maybe you've been nurturing them for a while and this was the final straw where they're like, I want to talk to this guy? Well, what does it look like to work with you?
Yeah, I mean, it kind of depends on how we're going to work with, but everything starts with a conversation, right? As everyone will know. And the first thing I always start whenever I'm working with someone potentially, or even considering the idea, is firstly, are we a good fit for each other, right? This goes both ways, number one. Number two, what is your actual tangible objective that you want to achieve, right? You want to grow your business. Okay, to what number? Okay, you want to gain more awareness and more understanding around what you do. Okay, how are we going to use that metric? How are we going to understand that we've achieved that, right? And what I'm talking about here is the key performance indicator concept I talked about earlier. But specifically for me, it's about really gauging how can we make sure what we're doing is result-based. Because it's very easy and very simple to say, I'm going to spend money, I'm going to give someone time, energy, resources, etc. because it makes me feel good. Fantastic. Dopamine release. Wonderful. I say nice things to you. We got the dopamine release. Fantastic. I'm winning. But tangibly, what is it doing for your business? Is there increased confidence, which then in turn means your conversion rate increases? Is that the metric we're tracking? Fantastic. Is your LinkedIn consistency, for example, on posting, were you 1 a week and then after working with me, you're now daily? Fantastic. Is it that you're now able to do things like have a podcast, go on live streams without having concerns, critical anxiety, etc.? Why did you have those in the first place? These are all things I know because these are all things that my coaching clients have told me at the beginning of our process, at the beginning of our journey together. Now all of them have done the outcome which we agreed upon, some of which ends up being business coaching and ends up going into mindset and how do we grow a business and how do we keep it sustainable and how do we deal with shocks in the economy, how do we deal with when things aren't necessarily going to plan or there's fires that appear, right? These are all things that we need to change our mindset around to be able to move forward from, right? And it's about saying, yes, today wasn't necessarily how I wanted it to be, but what out of that could I control?
Yeah. So it all starts with that conversation, and you're offering people a free starting conversation, a free coaching conversation. That's not just going to be, this is how I can help you, but it's really in itself going to be a coaching conversation in itself. And where can people start that conversation with you to schedule that conversation, should it make sense?
So it's very, very simple. I'm sure you'll leave the link, but it's just a free coaching conversation link that will basically just put into my calendar an hour of time with me to discuss where you are, what you're doing, and what I'm going to try and do is add as much value in the first 55 minutes as I can to you specifically. And what that hopefully allows me to do, or gives me the opportunity to do, is have a very brief at the end, a very, very brief sales opportunity to say, hey, look, this was valuable to you. This is how I work. This is how the costing works, etc. I'm always very transparent with these things because you don't want to necessarily hook, line, and sinker people into going, oh, look, it's a free thing, and actually now he's using it. So no, the whole point is for me to prove what I'm doing with content, prove that it could be valuable to you, saying, hey, look, is this valuable to you? Is this something you actually want to consider? Okay, if so, this is how we could continue to work together and we could actually move you closer to those objectives, to those goals. But actually, you might take the call and go, actually, Carlton isn't the right person. But what you will gain from this call is a more clarity and more understanding on where you are and where you could, if you choose to, want to actually go. Whether that's with me, whether that's with yourself, or whether that's with anyone else as well. It will give you that A and B point. right, to know. Now, it's not down to me to choose, am I the right person to get you from point A to point B? I might be. Fantastic, let's work together. But actually, some of the time, we find at the end of a coaching call, maybe we're not. Okay, that's cool too. All the love in the world to you. Yeah. I hope you find the person that is.
And you still help them. I mean, they've got things that they can use immediately and go from there. So it gives them a taste of how you can help them. And there are links in the description to schedule that conversation with Carlton. And Carlton, I'm glad that we were able to put this on the calendar, finally get around to it, because we covered a lot of really great stuff, brother. And it was great to see you again. Great to have you on the show. And I look forward to next time, because there's so much more we can dive into. So thank you very much, my friend. It was great speaking with you.
All the love in the world. See you soon.
Whether you're new to video creation, whether you're new to content creation, whether you're already intermediate or you're a master of creating great content and you tuned in because you like us, maybe you still took away something valuable when it comes to the Chat GPT or the automation when it comes to taking one piece of content and turning it into many. Or if you're a beginner, you've got this video pack of 1-minute videos that you can create immediately after listening and watching to this podcast and get posting on your social medias, because it's about awareness, it's about nurturing, and even most importantly, it's about conversion, because you can make people aware, but then they still don't know what you do. They still don't know how you can help them. And Carlton gave you the recipe for success when it comes from going from invisible to virality using the power and the beauty of video marketing. I hope you took something away from this conversation. Links are in the description to reach out to Carlton and to connect with him on LinkedIn as well. And if you did take something away from this conversation, all that we ask is you share this show with just one other person who would find it useful as well. You're the reason the Be Better broadcast has grown over the past 2 years, because you are the best part of the Be Better team. Thank you so much for watching and listening. And until we talk again next time, continue to be better.